Who is the best loosehead prop on planet Earth? Who wears the number 1 jersey better than anybody else? It's the player power rankings. And I've calculated that if I start these videos today and do one video every day, I will finish the team on Friday the 9th of August, one day before the Rugby Championship starts. So I thought this would be a lovely way to fill this rugby void we've got in front of us at the minute. So if you appreciate the content, if you love your rugby as well, I would really love it if you would help me spread the word by giving the video a thumbs up. Leave your comments down below, more importantly. There's no chance we will agree on the top 10 entirely, and I would love to know which players you would have higher, lower, out the top 10 or in the top 10. And just to clarify the criteria for this, I don't just want to have this... My thought was, in a few years' time, we'll be able to look back and kind of track the progress of some of these players as they rise and fall in the international ranks. So I don't want it to be something that wildly fluctuates based on, say, one great game or a player's injured so he drops right out. So I'm taking into account current form, and some countries have played more rugby than others, historic form, and also a little bit of gut feeling going on as well. So I don't want to penalise a player for being injured, for example, too much. Anyway, without further ado, let me crack on with the top 10. Your thoughts down below. Tamaiti Williams down one place to number 10 for me. And that's mainly dropped him down because he appears to be third choice for New Zealand at the minute. And spoiler alert, the second choice, Tonga Fasi, is not in my top 10. I rate this guy higher. I think he's an absolute weapon and a superstar. And just to say, actually, 3 players have gone up in this top 10. Tamaiti Williams is one of 6 players that are going down. There's one new face in the top 10 and there's one player that's dropped out. Raider Wardy from France has dropped out. At number 9, I've got Thomas Gallo. And I mean, Tamaiti Williams and Thomas Gallo, how young are props getting now? Finn Baxter for England, another one with a baby face. Thomas Gallo, again, he was on the bench for Argentina in their game against France, and they were not convincing against a very young French team. That said, he's got enough credit in the bank from the Rugby World Cup where he was absolutely outstanding. His set piece was really good, but his gameplay around the park was immense. So he does drop down a couple of spots, but he's still in my top 10. Thomas Gallo at number 9. Let's see how they go in the Rugby Championship. The picture could change in a few months' time. Angus Bell at number 8. One of those players, he's down 2 spots, and his injuries are a big concern. How good has Angus Bell been? 2023 was a remarkable year for him. Total breakout, and you thought he's going to push on and, you know, push himself into that world-class category. And he's been injured again. He's been bogged with a toe injury that won't go away, to the point that some people have even suggested he might need to move from the front row to the back row. I think he's got the all-round skills that he could do that, but that would be a massive blow for Australia. They need him back and playing. With the Lions tour on the horizon next summer, I really hope that is the case. And this is where, as I say, I don't just want to pie players off because they've got long-term injuries. Angus Bell, still my number 8. What do you think? Comments down below. At 7, Joe Marler, a new face into the top 10, mainly because of the fact that after the Rugby World Cup, I thought he'd retired. A lot of people thought that was it for Joe Marler in England, so I didn't consider him in the last top 10 that I did, because that's the criteria I have. You have to be currently eligible to play international rugby. I thought Joe Marler had ruled himself out and it was done. And he's shown just how good he is and just how much England cannot replace him just now. Ellis Genge has not made the top 10. Around the park, Ellis Genge is as good as anybody in world rugby. Set piece fundamentals are massive, and Joe Marler has got that. He has been brilliant for England. He's at number 7. Down a spot is Ethan de Groot. Very, very good, very good player. He's great at the Rugby World Cup. Looks solid against England. All-round player. They have got a fearsome front row operators of New Zealand. He's down a spot more due to that's nothing that Ethan de Groot's done wrong. It's more everything that the guy above him has done really well, because up is Pierre Schoeman of Scotland, a fun bus of a man. He's absolutely enormous. He is playing such good rugby, massively important man for Scotland right now, and he's playing himself into contention, I believe, for a British and Irish Lions spot. Definitely match day 23 he would get in right now. There's an argument he could even be battling for the starting spot with Andrew Porter. But Pierre Schoeman has been absolutely brilliant, and he's my number 5. If you disagree, hey, let me know. Number 4, Stephen Kitsoff, another player who's had an injury blighted year. He did not have a good time at Ulster. He's gone back to South Africa now. He's very close to returning. The spicy plum. He's capable of being right at the very top of this top 10 list. But with the injuries, with the lack of rugby, with the fact he wasn't that convincing in club colours this season, I've just nudged him down from where he was. Same goes for Cyril Baille. I mean, I've made the joke before. I'll make it again. If I were like a hand moisturiser company, I would be opening up the checkbook to get Cyril Baille as one of my ambassadors, because he has got the softest hands of any front row in world rugby. He plays that pivot position and does beautiful offloads and stuff, but he does that all in addition to the fact that he can do the basics that you need a loose head prop to do. Proper all-round player. His club Toulouse have just won everything again. France, not as convincing as they have been. Cyril Baille, pretty much like the whole French team, not quite where they were. Is that psychological? Is his form dipping off, or other players catching up? We'll wait and see, but I've nudged Cyril Baille down a spot, leapfrogging him. Andrew Porter, who, I tell you what, the most impressive thing about Andrew Porter, well, there's a lot of very impressive things. Big man, very strong. An 80-minute player. With the lack of depth that Ireland and Leinster have cultivated, they've got good young players coming through, but they just haven't given him much game time. They've relied on this guy to just put in some monstrous shifts, and he has done it. And out in South Africa, the toughest of breeding grounds and toughest place to go if you're a loose head prop, to go up against those Bok tight heads. And he did a very, very good job winning one test match. And like I say, just putting in some big shifts. Andrew Porter is my number 2. Number 1, no change, Ox Nché. He was the most destructive. He wasn't even the starting loose head prop at the Rugby World Cup, but he was so destructive. He won that France quarter-final game, or played a huge role in winning that France quarter-final game. That scrum at the end of the England semi-final at the Rugby World Cup. I mean, what a weapon. And he's had the starting role with South Africa. He demolished Ireland, put Tadhg Furlong completely through the ringer in that first test, a bit more even in the second. And we'll see how they go in the Rugby Championship. But I could not stray from Ox Nché. That rhymes. I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. There's your top 10. Tell me what you think. Comments down below. So the players that I haven't included in the top 10, let's just have a look at some of them. Noah Ellis-Genge. Danilo Fischetti drops out. Raider Wardy as well. There's some really good players coming through. Guys like Finn Baxter could be on the list in years to come. But it's a pretty, I mean, that's a pretty impressive 10 to start with, don't you think? Anyone you particularly disagree with? Let me know. Right, so every single day I'm going to do a video. 6 p.m. my time in the UK. So that's 7 p.m. in France and Central Europe and South Africa. It's early morning in the West Coast of America, lunchtime in the East Coast of America, and it's early morning the next day. Or basically, when you wake up and have your breakfast, if you're in New Zealand, Australia, or whatever, you can wake up and make this video the first one that you watch. And please do. So hit subscribe on the channel so you don't miss one. But every single day until the 9th of February, the day before the Rugby Championship, there will be one of these. Tomorrow it will be hooker. But tell me what you think about loose head prop.